So we've talked a lot about the relationship you had, the toxicity, the ramifications of that, the trauma that comes from it. But once you're left and you'd like to move on, how many struggle with the confidence needed to believe in themselves, that they are worth partnership, that they're worth being in relationship with someone? How many of us trust ourselves to make the right choice, to find the right person who isn't toxic? It's a struggle. I talk about it and saying, you're not the problem. You were never the problem. Your partner was the problem. You're just fine. You're great in partnership. Think about, who you were outside of that. But underneath it all really comes this sort of fundamental belief that you're not good in relationship because you have been treated as if you're not good in relationship. It's not that you're not good. It's that you were being manipulated into believing that you weren't good enough for someone else's benefit. Now, I choose to believe that my toxic partners were perhaps unwell, mentally, unstable, unhealed. It wasn't me, right? This has never been about me and who I was. It was always about them and what they needed to move through life in a safe way for themselves. And that happened to be harmful for me, right? And I often give that guidance to many people who are dealing with toxic people in their lives. If you just assume that that person is hurting underneath it all, then you don't have to take it personally anymore. It works really, really well. But it's extraordinarily difficult, especially if that toxic person is a family member or somebody you have to see all the time, because the interactions are crazy. The interactions make you feel insane. So how do you get through that piece? The bridge from knowing that it's not you, right? But that fundamental underlying belief that there is something maybe wrong with you. Because if there wasn't, A, how did you pick that person? And B, why did you stay with them? Right? We can spend years and years and years trying to figure that out until you get to the root cause of that feeling, what it's about. We'll continue to sort of cycle around, circle around and circle around, almost like digging a tunnel, right? You go down a little bit and down a little bit and down a little bit until you maybe reach what could be the cause. There's a subconscious element to it. There is pre-programming. There's stuff that we were born with, that we were raised with. There are things that happen that society tells us. There are formative experiences that we have that we don't even remember having that will lead us to these kinds of toxic relationships and the permission that we give others to treat us that way. They say it happens especially with people who are empaths, but I find it unfortunate because empathy is an extraordinary trait. It can't necessarily be taught. It's a beautiful thing to have empathy. And the fact that toxic people take advantage of others who feel very deeply and can put themselves not only in someone else's shoes, but really envision themselves in their pain and their joy and their happiness, the toxic person kind of can take advantage of that. So how do we take the wonderful traits of who we are, right, and bring them forward into a healthy relationship? The first thing to do, in my experience, is deal with the fundamental underlying belief system. Something that I've seen a lot of people do is go for dating coaches because, again, they think that it's not, that it's you, right? That it's a skill set that you lack the ability to be in relationship. And while that is sort of the Band-Aid bridge, right? You can relearn how you can relate to others through dating advice, and there's loads of them out there. What it can do is just remind you that you were good at this. You were good at being with people and in relationship to others. There's nothing wrong with you. You can go through those dating programs and you can find out, tips and tricks and whatever you need. But again, that's a surface level, right? And we could do the dating coach. You can realize that you're great at relationships. You can see a therapist and start to talk through some of the formative childhood experiences you had. But until you get to that underlying root cause, the thing that is the foundation for the belief system that allowed you to be in a situation to begin with, until you get there, then those surface skill sets that you learn are not as strong. Not that they don't work, they're just not as strong as you need them to be. So go for the root cause, figure it out, and then go from there.